So we are going to do a circuit change on James's ventilator, and this is James's circuit. He has a dual limb, and we have a cover on it to help with rain out. And then this is his exhalation valve. The circuit runs into the humidification chamber and then connects to the ventilator through a filter. So the LTV looks kind of funky when I'm recording, so we'll see if these numbers show up good when I'm done. So the first thing you want to do is set out your spare ventilator. If you don't have a spare ventilator, I would switch to a DME that will give you one, because if your kid or baby is on a ventilator and you don't have a backup, could be a problem. We also have to lay out our supplies, and I'm going to unpack those right now. So we have an Aerogen, and that is the nebulizer that's built into the circuit. So these are the pieces that I clean, and I switch out every 2 weeks. So they've been cleaned in hot water and vinegar, and then I used a Q-tip to really make sure they're clean. The circuit actually comes all wound up, which sometimes can be a mess because when it's wound up, it tends to have this like kink in it because it's been wound up in plastic for so long and can tend to spin when it's connected to his trach. Besides the circuit, you also have the extra piece of tubing, which is this piece right here, and then you get this is called a multi-adapter, and so you also get an OmniFlex. First thing you want to do is take off this multi-adapter because the filter needs to go in between there, and it should be set up like this: extra tubing, filter, multi-adapter. This goes right into the ventilator, and then this is going to be connected to the Aerogen. So it's going to be connected to the Aerogen. The Aerogen is then connected into the humidification chamber, which you'll fill to this black line with distilled water. It has to be distilled water only. So again, multi-adapter, filter, tubing, coming down to an Aerogen to a humidification chamber. If you don't have an Aerogen, this piece goes right into the humidification chamber. Use the Aerogen, which is a completely separate piece with the air compressor, and you don't have to worry about that at all. The next thing I do with the Ballard is I take off all the paper, trash. I actually cut this off. This is caps for if you want to cap it, but he's connected all the time. And I also throw away this piece because basically he can take it off and swallow it. So that is all trash. All of this is trash. And you have the Ballard ready to go to be connected to your circuit. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to actually undo all these clips. There's like little circular clips that you'll find connecting this tubing to this wire, and it just helps keep things in line. So I have to actually take them all off because on the blue tubing I'm going to put a cover to help protect him from rain out, and I have to put larger clips on. You'll see some of them are smaller circles, and then when you come all the way to the bottom here, you'll see larger ones. So smaller ones, larger ones. The larger ones work once you have the cover on. So now that I have the new circuit set up, I'm going to start taking the clips off of this, and then I will unzip the cover and take it off, so it's one less thing I have to do while he's on the other vent. So now I have his cover unzipped. When it comes down to this part here, I'm just going to push it past through this plastic part and wait till he is on the other vent to have this completely disconnected. So it's really important that you have them on a pulse ox machine while you're doing this. They should be connected. His cable is fairly long, so it goes into his bed right here. And you just want to try and remove as many extra things from the area as possible, so that way when you're doing this, there's no confusion about tubes and cords and which ones you need. So now we are going to switch James over to the backup ventilator. So first thing you want to do is go to the ventilator that he's currently on, and you're going to want to press this button here, just silence reset. Turns red, that will silence it. So you'll come over to the backup ventilator. You're going to press the on standby button. Sometimes it says same patient and you have to press select, and other times it goes straight into it. So all of his numbers need to look correct except for this one. His pressure support has now been changed to 15, so we can go down to 15. I'm going to silence this for a second, and I'm going to take off this glove. We have this glove on to protect. So the glove is used just for sanitary reasons. Now this vent is on. I'm going to quickly put it through the railing here, and we'll disconnect James. Okay. So I cannot do that with one hand. I need to take this circuit out, which is the one he was on, and the machine is still on. You're going to hold down this button here. It's going to beep. It will not stop beeping until you press silence, reset. So this is the ventilator James was on. This is the old circuit that I'm going to disconnect. While he is on the backup ventilator, it's really important that you switch over the oxygen as well. So the oxygen tubing is right here. And I'm just going to place it into this side. So it goes right in here. And it's easier to just push than to twist. And it goes right in. So, okay. And you'll notice James is on the backup vent here, and he is very relaxed, very curious, wants to see what's going on, right, James? Yeah. Hi. But this machine's actually a little bit quieter, but we don't really use it. Because it doesn't have many hours left on it. They have about 10,000 hours they need to be serviced, and this one's on its last leg. We have it in the closet because, we've had to use it for emergencies, and it's a lot better than bagging him having a BPD episode and having to go to the ER. So in order to disconnect the circuit for the LTV, there's 3 things here. You're going to just screw to the left, white, yellow, and this last one, you just yank. You just pull it out. So these are the 3 pieces of tubing that you're going to take from the side of the ventilator. Down here, you're going to remove the wire with the green light, and then you can just twist this off. You're going to actually take this part off. You're going to take this entire thing off as well, up to the filter, and you're going to get rid of that. Again, if you have an Aerogen, you definitely don't want to get rid of this piece. These 2 pieces you'll want to keep, but you can get rid of the tubing all the way to the filter and multi-adapter. You'll then want to take out the humidification chamber. You just press this down and you will slide this piece out. It's very, very hot and full of hot water. And then you can either wash this and sterilize it, or if they've been sick and you have enough backups, you can just toss it. So now I'm sliding in my new humidification chamber, making sure that you get it in underneath the little slots. And then our setup's a little different. We made this 3-tiered cart, and your humidification chamber is probably on a ventilator stand or attached to an oxygen tank stand. So, and this is the tubing with the filter, and the multi-adapter just goes into the vent and just twist it in. Make sure this piece is also tight, because if there's enough ventilator pressure, this piece will just pop off. It's not common, but I've seen it happen in the hospital. So you have to use distilled water. We actually use this little cup that we got from the hospital, which is nice. Sometimes this giant jug is heavy to pour from. And then also use a filter, which we were taught by one of the RTs in the PICU, which is super helpful when you need to get it into this tiny little hole. So we put the filter right in here. I also heard Medela flanges work really good if you have those from pumping. And then you're just gonna pour this in, making sure we're gonna, I'm not gonna fill it all the way because we always do it at 9 p.m. and 9 a.m. and we still have a few more hours to go today. So, and then if you have an Aerogen, you're gonna wanna make sure you put this plug back on, and then this is the cable. You're gonna wanna make sure that is put back in here like so. That way, you don't do what we did once, which is you put the medicine in, press the button, and wonder why it's not going. It's because the cable was never attached. So for this new circuit, you get an OmniFlex in the bag, and so you'll just want to attach that to the end. Then the OmniFlex attaches to the side of the Ballard right here. And then this goes right into his trach. The other thing you can do is you can actually remove this plastic piece. It's good to keep one in your emergency bag for the hospital, because they'll probably have a circuit that will have it a little bit different of a heating element. So you actually need that for the LTVs, but you can take it right off and have it just like this. You're going to want to eliminate as much dead space as possible. Now I'm going to put the circuit cover back on the new circuit. So now the circuit cover is on, and I also take this piece, and it's usually like way down here. And James is kicking me right now. And I just need to move it up, so I'll end up attaching it up here higher. But I do have it through the railing, because if it was on top of the railing, we have to lift the railings up higher, and water is in it. It'll go down into James if he's in the bed. So when he's in the bed, we put everything through the railing, and yes, you do have to disconnect quite a few times, but it's a lot better than him drowning. And you can see down here, reconnected the heating element. So the hardest part about trying to switch out a circuit without using a backup ventilator is this part. This part takes a little time. Put the yellow in first. You have to really, really spin. First, you want to spin to the left to get it on the right track, and then you want to spin to the right as tight as you can. Same with the white one. You spin, spin, spin. Sometimes I've used needle nose pliers to really tighten it. If they are not tight, the ventilator could alarm, and that has happened to us before, just needing to be as tight as possible. So it doesn't matter if these are twisted, but what I like to do is lay them on top of the other wires. So they are shorter than the blue one, which when he's rolling around the floor, that's what kind of prohibits him from going too far, unfortunately. So now we're going to switch James back to his vent with a brand new circuit on it and a brand new Ballard. So last things we want to do is reconnect his oxygen. Just pull this off. I like to put the oxygen behind all of the other tubing. And you may wonder why I have this pink Neotech Velcro strap thing here. Well, it's because sometimes this wire is just heavy and it just bends and kinks. And if you just give it a little bit of support by, clipping the weight and so I just clip it there, and it kind of lifts it up, and actually it removed the kink, which is really nice. I also use something else from Neotech. This little guy, he takes the oxygen tubing, gets it up off the floor. I kind of have those along the crib. Yeah. And then lastly, this is our trash, our old circuit, along with the extra tubing and filter that was going into the ventilator. So you can just trash all of that. None of that is reusable. You're gonna say bye, James. Say bye. Say bye. Not yet.